Thank you.
Well, I thought you guys would appreciate that, so.
No, I would, we do. If I known we could do that, I would have been actually, probably would have been more liberal with the words.
But just let me know before you close the laptop, and I'll come down and do that for you.
We'll do.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll call Rick and we'll get this ball rolling.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Hey, Rick, this is Morgan Boyd. How you doing? I'm doing well, thanks. Hey, we're about to start the meeting. We got you on the phone. I'll note you're the only one in attendance, so thank you for attending. Oh, you absolutely, you know more than probably than anybody else the extravagance and wonder of local government.
That's about it. I would say Commissioner Rose would take the number one, and then maybe I'm somewhere after that.
Well, I could debate that, but I'm not going to. It's too early in the morning, Rick, but it's kind of you.
And I'll just say good morning, Rick. Good to hear you. It's Loretta.
Good morning, Commissioner. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Pretty good. We had a little scare last week of possible exposure to corona in my office.
Okay.
I'm quarantining right now.
Okay. All right. Very good. Feel well then.
Thank you. So far, so good.
Good.
All right, well, Susan, everything good on your end?
Mm-hmm.
Ready to start?
All set.
All right, we will call this Monday, November 23rd, 2020 meeting of the Lawrence County Board of Elections to order. Susan, please call the roll.
Mr. Boyd.
Here.
Mr. Vogler.
Here.
Ms. Gilvogel.
Here.
We have quorum. Is there any public comment today? Hearing none, we'll go on to the approval of the minutes for November 2nd, 2020 meeting.
I'll move for adoption of the minutes as they have been submitted.
Have a second.
Hearing a motion is second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. I will now turn it over to Director Allison for new business. First on deck is the certification of the 2020 general election. Ed, what do we have?
I have for presentation the results of the 2020 presidential election. Total ballots cast were 46,319, and which gave us a voter turnout of 80.62.
That's awesome.
Fabulous.
Finally, we have one that's worth spending the money.
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Very good.
So I would ask the board to issue certification of the final tally. Let me read to you the undersigned return board of the above named election district do hereby certify the following is true is a correct tabulation of the votes cast in the different precincts in said election district. Signed by Becky Bellman, Jackie Graziani, Elizabeth Lombardo, Susan Kite, Tim Germani, and attested by myself. So the return board has completed their work. So I would love to have the board entertain a motion for certification.
Before you do, what are the, number one, what are the final vote tallies, not of all the races, but the headline races? And number two, what were our policies relating to the different ways that ballots came in? And when I say,
Pertaining to the many changes that were made along the way, every hour of every day.
and when I say headline races, the presidential and the federal congressional.
No problem.
Morgan, do you see that?
Yeah, I do.
Do you
I think
think
it's
we're
just
okay?
updating.
Okay.
I think it's not updating presently. I just think it's.
Okay.
No, we're good.
How are you?
We're good shape. In the presidential race, Donald J. Trump, 29,597. Joseph R. Biden, 15,978. And Joe Jorgensen, 501.
Lester Hart. I said Lester Hart.
And in the representative in Congress, Mr. Mike Kelly, 28,977. Christy Nimitz, 16,484. Those are the two federal races.
Okay, and did we,
We,
were there any circumstances in which we discarded any ballots? And if so, what were the circumstances?
we discarded no ballots.
Well, not discarded, but did not count, did not put in the total. That's
right.
Are you sure, Ed?
I got nervous there.
Don't worry, Rick, I'm on it.
That was a slip on my end there. We did not discard ballots.
There were less than 150 naked ballots out of the over 12,500 that were received mail and absentee, which was a
Yes,
two-thirds drop compared to the
to the
primary.
primary,
Two-thirds
yes.
drop with more ballots
With more
received.
ballots received.
Mhm.
There were a number of provisional ballots for which individuals were not registered or that perhaps voted at the poll for worker error, and we caught those. That would be the majority of it.
And then those ballots are obviously,
We also did take a number that were returned undeliverable, as well as we removed all the ones that we could find that were deceased prior to or on election day.
and then those ballots are, we still have them in our possession.
Everything is still sequestered, sir. And we will keep them for 22 months.
Any questions from my colleagues?
No.
No.
All right, in that case, I will entertain a motion to certify the 2020 general election results from Lawrence County.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion, a second, is there any discussion?
Just clarification that there were no ballots discarded.
Yeah, that was.
None.
Sorry about that one, it's too early in the morning for me. Any further? Susan, please call the roll.
Mr. Boyd?
Yes.
Mr. Vogler?
Yes.
Ms. Vogel?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
And
you.
now for the Peglia complaint.
Well, I'll pass these around. I've got at least 3 for you this time. With regard to the Peglia complaint, I have both a written statement from Mr. Peglia as well as a report that was made to the Attorney General's office.
And the report was made to the Attorney General's office by Mr. Peglia?
That is correct.
Okay. What does the,
Mr. Paglia's complaint states, on November 3rd, 2020 at 7:10 hours, I arrived at Hutchinson Center in Shaney Township to cast my vote. I was dressed in my work uniform. I'm a police officer for the Newcastle Police Department. My shift on this day was scheduled to start at 800 hours. When I arrived, there were 2 lines. I got in the line closest to the parking lot. After being in line for approximately 10 minutes, I was approached by a woman wearing a gold tan lanyard and tag. I believe the tag said voter protection. She asked me if I was there to vote, and I replied yes. She then stated that she thought that the police were not allowed to be there. She then touched the patch on my arm and said, "I saw your badge." I again told her that I was there to vote. After she touched me, a group of older ladies who were in front of me began to talk to me and tell me they thought that I was a nice policeman. I continued to make small talk with a group of ladies for approximately 8 minutes when I was again approached by the same woman. She came up to me and said, "I was told to tell you that you have to lock up your gun in your car." I immediately told her that I would not do that. She told me that I had to. I again replied that I was not willing to do so. She then asked if I was on duty. I replied that I was on my way to work. She again said that I had to lock up my gun in my car. I again told her I was not willing to do so. She then stated that I could not vote. I then asked what her name was. She replied, Louise Gear. I then professionally walked away. I felt as if this woman was attempting to antagonize me and to get a reaction from me. Signed, James J. Paglia. Statement to the Attorney General's office. A police officer on his way to work prior to 8 a.m. shift in full uniform was asked by Louise Gear Herman, to lock his gun in his car. He refused. Herman told him he can't come in. He did eventually vote at 3 p.m. at the close of his shift.
Did we look into the complaint?
We have, sir, and Assistant Solicitor Flannery was also on the call when I talked directly with Mr. Paglia, and I find no discrepancy between any of either the written statement, the Attorney General's report, or in the conversation that I had directly with him.
Okay. Is that,
The Democratic Party was notified of the issue. We even spoke with several of their other voter protection people that were here witnessing the pre-canvass and canvass activities at this location. It's covered under 25 PS 3047. Police officers, no police officer within 100 feet of the polling place, and there are exceptions. Presence of the soldiers prohibited.
Commissioner, if I may, as a representative of the Democratic Party, I have not disputed the factual allegations. I would say there was a misunderstanding. I've talked to Chris Herman, the voter protection agent, spoke with Mr. Paglia, and there is one allegation where she was supposed to keep it up with this officer Paglia. So she does dispute that. And in fact, I do believe he did end up voting at some point that day. To be honest with you, I think that this election on both sides, both Democrat and Republican, was a hyper-sensitive election. And I think that this situation is more along the lines of hypersensitivity rather than voter intimidation or anything of that nature. Ms. Herman never held herself out to be a special election at the precinct, and Officer Paglia is an officer in the city of Newcastle, and this is placing a precinct in the Shannon. So, my concern would be, and I think the Herman's thought process was, well, he was an on-duty police officer. Unless he's on a high-speed chase, decided he had time to take a detour vote in the Shannon. That led me to believe that, in her opinion, that he was not on duty. Now, whether that matters in the overall scheme of things, I don't know, but I believe that was her thought process as this was happening. Again, I don't think there was any intention of voter intimidation or to stop people from voting. It was just a simple misunderstanding of the rules and regulations.
thank you, Rick. What is the exception under the election code that allows for police officers to enter into voting precincts?
It's 25 PS 3047. No police officer in commission, whether in uniform or in citizen's clothes, shall be within 100 feet of a polling place during the conduct of a primary or election, unless in the exercise of his privilege of voting, and for the purpose of serving warrants, or unless called upon to preserve the peace as provided by this act.
Okay.
And so it makes no mention of any specific polling place. As long as he was there to vote, he was certainly permitted to do so in uniform.
Now, the second question would be, it sounds like there's two parts to Mrs. Gear's, I would say, harassment. The first being the fact that it's a police officer in the precinct, which is very clearly legal under those circumstances. The second would be in relation to his firearm. Are individuals allowed, police officer or not a police officer, to carry a firearm into a voting precinct in the state of Pennsylvania?
They are, sir, as Pennsylvania is an open carry state, so long as that weapon is clearly visible, they can carry it into the polling place, with the exception of the courthouse, schools, or hospitals.
I mean, what are your recommendations?
Under these, or at any time that a complaint is brought before the board, it's my understanding, and I haven't had very many whatsoever in my tenure, that it be referred to the district attorney's office for consideration whether or not there are any criminal charges to be filed. And after that, then of course the board would take with that recommendation and either move on it or take action based on legal counsel.
I mean, to me, this actually makes me, listening to that complaint, that's the first time that I've heard the complaint. I haven't read it before today. I haven't heard it before today. It's the first time I'm hearing the complaint. And listening to it, that actually stirred up a little bit of anger in me. Hearing that an individual who was supposedly there to protect voters actually ended up at best harassing a voter, at worst committing an act of voter intimidation. I mean, if you're at a precinct and acting in a capacity as a watcher for a party or for a candidate, in my mind, you can't shoot and miss. This is one of those things where, you know, she was speeding down the road, going 5 miles an hour over, and she got pulled over, and at that point, you give her a warning. You know, if it was some sort of minor incident that didn't relate to voting, you know, in my mind, you give her a warning and let her go on her way. But this is an instance, you know, we're talking about the most sacred right that Americans have. And to me, it's absolutely egregious, the conduct by Ms. Gear at that precinct. But that's what I have to say.
Yeah, please, if I may, Mr. Chairman, two questions. First, to Mr. Allison. Am I to understand, Ed, that when you received the letter from the voter, did I understand you correctly that either you or someone from your office did in fact have a verbal discussion with him about it?
That's correct. Assistant Solicitor Flannery.
Thank you. Was any effort made to have a conversation with Attorney Gear Herman regarding this allegation?
Not at that time.
Has there been any discussion or inquiry made to her? In other words, to get her side of the story?
Only through Mr. Stefano.
The
So
Democratic.
I've not spoken with her directly.
Okay, so am I to understand you did have a conversation with the Democratic Party chairman?
Yes.
And am I to understand, did he have a conversation with Attorney Gear Herman?
I can't say that.
You don't know that, okay.
Rick, Rick, excuse me, Rick, I'll give you an opportunity for comment after we've finished having our discussion here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, my second point, and I'll be very brief, and it ties in with the concerns that Chairman Boyd raised. I have to wonder speculatively if the gentleman who was in line to vote had been in line in civilian clothes, would this incident have even occurred? I'm assuming it would not have. So I just want to make that point. I think the ultimate decision to refer it to the district attorney is probably a prudent one in this case. And I thank you for allowing me the time to speak, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Commissioner Spielman.
Yes. Just again, and I do confer, I agree with Commissioner Vogler that it, because of the contentiousness of this election and the information that has been received, I believe that we follow any process that we have done in the past and let it go through that process. I think that it's necessary that we do that. Question that I have though is the call with Attorney Flannery and Officer Peglia and yourself, who instigated that call?
We called him.
Okay, all right, so then you in turn didn't call.
No, I did not.
You did not, okay, so that to me is a bit of an issue as well, that you have the complaint and then only follow through, or how did you even know there was a complaint, I guess is what it is. That leads me to think that maybe, you know, we missed the target on it by not contacting the other party. So,
I believe the complaint actually came to our office through the sheriff's office.
okay,
If it happened at 7:10 in the morning, we probably didn't get notification closer to noon.
and I just think that because of just because of the instance itself, it could get extended to a voter intimidation issue. If it's, you know, we have to move it forward because it has to be taken care of the way that it needs to be done. And especially if there's a discrepancy as to what was said at that point in time. You know, we need to have clarification on that, and if it has to go to a more formal setting, that needs to be. And apparently, with the complaint made by the officer, that I believe that is what his wishes are at this point in time to move it forward. And I believe we need to do that and have it clarified by more of a legal process. That's my thought on it.
Any additional comments from my colleagues or the elections director on this matter?
No, sir.
All right, and as promised, Rick, I'll give you an opportunity to speak for the party here.
Thank you, Chairman. And just briefly, I wanted to, again, I just want to reiterate what I said at the beginning of this conversation, but just for clarification, the individual was we, Gary Herman, was actually Attorney Herman's wife, not the attorney himself.
Correct, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yes.
I heard Attorney Herman's name, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, the individual at issue here is his wife, who we.
But may I clarify that she is also an attorney, is she not?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
I believe she's
See,
an
yes,
attorney at law
yes.
as well. I think they're both attorneys.
Gear and Herman,
Yes.
yes.
Hey, sorry about that.
Sure.
No, I appreciate your raising the point, Mr. de Blasio, but again, just for purposes of clarification, that's why I did say Attorney Gear Herman, and I do believe that she is in fact a licensed attorney. And Loretta seems to be confirming that
Yes.
fact, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
the Democratic Party has a representative of the Democratic Party in Lawrence County. We have no quarrel with seeing the process through and having a referral to the district attorney for further fact finding.
All right, that sounds good to me, and I'll note that just a little bit louder, because we're being live streamed
Yes.
right now for the general consumption of the public. So I'll note that the representative for the Democratic Party has noted that they have no objection to moving this matter forward in the process and a referral to the Lawrence County District Attorney. Thank you, Rick.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
With that being said, I will entertain a motion to refer this matter to the office of the district attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any discussion? I'll just add, I don't know what she was thinking. I'm looking forward to seeing this investigated further. And if this is indeed a matter of voter harassment or voter intimidation, again, this is an issue where if you're going to accuse someone of breaking voter law, you can't shoot and miss. But we have a motion and a second. Questions on the motion? Susan, please call the roll.
Mr. Boyd,
Yes.
Mr. Vogler,
Yes.
Ms. Vogel.
Yes.
Motion carries. Complaint will be referred to the district attorney. Is there any additional public comment at this time?
None, Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Ah,
Thank you, everyone, have a good day, thank you for allowing me to participate, unorthodox style.
Thank you, sure.
No problem at all. Enjoy the rest of your day, and hopefully you continue to find yourself in good
Correct.
health.
Yes,
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, I appreciate that, please keep up, the great work you guys are doing for the county.
thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Take care.
You don't.
Yes.
Any additional comments from members of the board?
Just a brief, very brief question for, yeah, make it very brief. Real quick, Ed, looking ahead to the spring, are you aware of any precincts that we may have to think about moving at this point?
No, sir.
Okay, that's all I have, thank you. I'm keeping in mind, we have a 9 o'clock commitment.
Yes.
So, thanks, Ed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Ed, any further comments from the elections director?
No, sir.
All right. With no other business to conduct today, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second, is there any discussion? Hearing none, question on the motion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same sign. Motion carries, and that concludes the 2020 general election in Lawrence County. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
And Ed.
I think we're kind of, oh, and then we have
What did he
to
say? He said not, did he
don't
say not to
turn the
turn it
computer
on?
off.
He says
right?
don't, because he's gonna trim it up at the beginning.
Okay. Very good.
Borrow your pen because it's blue and I only have a black one here. Thank you.
I'm gonna go get Eric, shut the thing off. Keep in mind, we're still live.
Right.
Just three pages, right, Ed?
Yes, sir.
Let's see, this is order 10. And there you are, Mr. Allison. Thank you.
It's official now.
Yep. Goodness. All righty, we folks all have a great day.
Yes, and we'll be up there getting started.
Yeah, I gotta.
I think I did get a copy of the agenda as well. I think there was an email. There
There
an
was.
email
And then they have the one email that you have to get into the
to get
meeting.
into the
You
meeting.
have that, I assume.
Very good.
All
Right
righty,
in there, so
all upstairs.
I can't believe that.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
Here, I usually take them right to the shop.
Ed, thank you for
Thank you.
all your hard
Very
work.
good.
Thank you.
And congratulations on being done.
Correct.
Amen for that.
Amen. Very good.